Jason Statham is the working man. By the way, terrible, uh, terrible tag. Did you see that? Human traffickers beware. Like, that has got to be one of them. First off, on the nose much, but second, that's got to be one of the worst taglines. That's not a tagline. Maybe you could say he's working overtime. Like, I don't know. I'm just working man. Something I know. He's what he's got a side job to do or something like that. Human traffickers beware. That is a terrible tagline. The movie itself, though, isn't bad. I believe it is from the same guy who did The Beekeeper, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. David Ayer, who I believe also did, and he also did Wrath of Man. Seems to like working with Jason Statham. Yeah, he definitely likes working with Jason Statham because he did The Beekeeper, Wrath of Man. I don't know about Mutiny, but Operation Fortune, Wild Card, Cleaner. He's got The Amateur coming out this year. Yeah, and I like David Ayer. I like most of David Ayer's films. Redemption, Safe. Oh, I loved Safe. Like Safe is a little underrated Jason Statham gem. So yeah, David Ayer is definitely a guy who knows how to uses Jason Statham well. And I like this film. It is essentially his version of Taken. A young girl goes missing, not his daughter, but he has a daughter in this. But a daughter of a friend who he works for their family. And he goes on a one-man tirade to go and take him back. And it does carry some of the tropes, human trafficking. There is like a high roller who wants the specific girl. He dresses like a magician for some fucking reason. Top hat, Kang, bow tie. Just almost like the fucking Penguin. A little Russian version of the Penguin. There's old acquaintances. And look, for what it is exactly what you're expecting. It's a fun Jason Statham beat 'em up movie. Jason Statham is always honestly kind of good at these roles. He's always been good at these roles and probably always will be. He is getting up there. I believe he's like 58 now. I want to say he's 58. He is 57. So he's getting there. And look, still looks fantastic for his age. Absolutely. And the man is still built. Like, the man is still in great shape. But you can now start to see the age starting to creep on his face. Just kind of like how Tom Cruise has now only just started to age in his 60s. So that is just water, by the way. So, he'll look like 80. So when he's 80, he'll finally look 60. But, yeah, you can tell. One of the things I will say as a negative, I think you can tell when it comes to some of the fight scenes that either because he's gotten older, he can't move quite the same way. Kind of like how Keanu Reeves can't. I brought that example up. And so, like, there's a fight in a bar, in a room in a bar, which, to be fair, he fights to the music. The boys are back and they're looking for trouble. Like, this just starts building up. Like, F it, let's do this. Now, I'm not saying the entire fight was crap, but it was a little bit difficult to make out. Ironically, yeah, unlike, say, Beekeeper, and I think Beekeeper is a good, parallel to this one because it came out last year. Unlike Beekeeper, the hand-to-hand stuff is not as prominent in this one. In fact, I would say that was actually a lot more of a not plus. It was more of how that character fought than this character fights. Granted, we get the scene in the workyard as well where he beats the guys up. And that fight's good. I mean, it's short, but it's good. But a lot of it is a lot more tactical. Like he was ex-Royal Military. So it's actually a lot more kind of, combat, him getting people with knives, shooting them, all that. There was a fight, though, with a guy in the bar, like a former, was it Army Ranger? I think he said, Airborne Ranger. And that was pretty good. And that was a good character. I like that character and the kind of like the relationship those two kind of had. But despite the fact that maybe the action isn't as good as the Beekeeper, it's still when it's going, when it's like when the pins some of the grenades hit the ground, if you will, it is a lot of fun. Especially when he's just going toe to toe, going ham on people with a gun, or just being the brutal, vengeful Jason Statham. It's like, that's for hitting that woman. That woman was my wife. That was for hitting your wife. That's just good. Yeah, that's just good stuff. Now I did hear that this, because it was written by Stallone, or at least co-written by him, and it was initially supposed to be a TV series. And looking how it's structured and looking how it ends, I can buy that, because it doesn't end. It ends in a good spot for all the people involved, but it doesn't end with like the problem being solved. If anything, it ends in a way where it's like sequel baiting, a little bit. So I will say that might be a little bit of a knock against it. Otherwise, Jason Statham is always good. All the cast is good. David Harbour's in there for like 3 scenes. But he is fun. Let's see, I will be your weapons for this evening. What weapons Somali, I believe he said, for this evening. And yeah, and now I will say there was a little editing trick here. In the trailer, Michael Pena is the one who said, "You're blind, your army buddy who doesn't know he's blind." In the movie, it's actually his daughter who says that. So yeah. That I thought was funny. But there's a lot more investigation going on, and him kind of playing the system, which again is kind of what happens in Taken. Liam Neeson pretends to be someone he's not at points to get information, and yeah, that's kind of how it plays out. Do you also have some just fun side characters? There's one guy called Dimmy, who's a little fun. He's not like the highlight character or anything like that, but he's a little fun. Then there's these two morons who I will most likely just refer to as a Harvey and, or was it Merv and Harvey? Is it Harry and Marv? Harry and Marv from Home Alone, except if they were like a couple who, and it's a man and a woman. If they were a couple who just got out of prison, were working for the Russian mob. if Harry and Marv were a man and a woman in a relationship working for the Russian mob and they just got out of prison. Yeah, because they do have a little intimidation factor to them, but they're a little, and definitely more competent than Harry and Marv are, but they're so bumbling and so idiotic that it is kind of hilarious to watch. And then actually, you know what? Another big plus I'll give this film: the girl who gets kidnapped is not a damsel in distress. Ariana Rivas playing Jenny. She's actually not. I mean, she is in distress. Like, she can't really get out of the situation she's in. She almost does at one point, but then something happens to prevent that. But she legitimately, actually, I'm not going to give too much away, but she legitimately is actually able to kind of work these guys a little bit. And it is actually really refreshing to see. Yeah, I mean, the gore, when we get it, is fine. Like, there's nothing supremely bloody or anything. Like, some guy gets shot in the chest with a shotgun. Another guy gets stabbed in the throat. So, I mean, these are all relatively good gore effects, action effects, violence effects. There is one thing, though. There is one thing in this movie that, I'll give it 2. 2 things in this movie. One is just mildly like, I noticed this. But the other is so bad that you have to go, wait, what? Hold. So the first thing is that there's like 2 or 3 shots of them doing like an aerial shot of like a residential area. You can tell so easily that this is a model. Like, it's not even funny how much of a model this is. And they do it twice, at least, that I can remember. It's kind of insane in that regard. But that's one thing. That being said, and I see an ant. I'll have to get that ant. They've been coming back out a little bit. But with that said, The biggest thing that stood out to me is the fakest moon. Because the climax takes place at night in like a forest with like a secluded like area where people do terrible things. And it is the fakest moon I've ever seen. That you can tell is probably just like some giant backdrop or something like that. Why? Okay, let's use that as an example. Now, if that were the size of the moon from a distance, that might seem a little big to you, wouldn't it? Now take that and take this general visage of me you see here and go and follow my finger here, go beep, moon. I'm not shitting you. There's this giant plastered cutout of a moon. Not even plastic cutout, just giant backdrop of a moon. Like, what? Do you know how jarring it was to see that moon? Because it's like, this is not real. No, this is not how things work. This is not how things function. What the hell? What the actual hell are you doing, movie? You're supposed to be taking place in the real world. What the actual I don't know. Look, it's a perfectly good Jason Statham movie. Is it one of his best? No. Is it one of his worst? No, because even when he does a relatively boring one, he's still good in it. He still gets a good couple bits of action. So, yeah, I liked it fine. It's better, I think, than Woman in the Yard. It's not as good as Death of the Unicorn, which will be my last one to talk about. So, thanks for watching. See you next time, folks.